Welcome to another episode of the South Asian MenSpace podcast. And this episode, I'm joined by Jathis, and we're going to be talking all about acting, film, cinema, and men's mental health. So make sure you check out the video, like, subscribe, and share it if you're on YouTube. Like it and share it and listen in if you're on Spotify. And if you're interested in coming on this platform, if you know someone who would want to come on this platform, then please do contact me. All the details are down below, and you can also search South Asian Men's Space on Google and find me on there. Thank you. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Yeah, doing good.
Good. Thank you for
Normally...
having me.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
No,
Normally what we do is we do an introduction, a check-in. So I guess with this check-in, if you want to check in with your name, what you do, and I guess the question that's coming up for me is how you're feeling right now in this moment.
Cool.
Yeah.
My name is Jathis Siva. I am an upcoming actor and director. And in this moment, I feel at peace with life, is what I could best describe it. Just that peace of life. I think acceptance is it plays such a pivotal role in mental health in general as well. So yeah, I think I've accepted where I'm at in life. I think I'm just trying to enjoy the process of everything that's kind of unraveling. I think a lot of people get kind of lost in, when's this going to come? When's this going to happen? I've put so much hard work in, but I think that really makes you hate the journey, if you get what I'm saying. So right now I've just accepted, acceptance is such a big thing, and I'm just trying to enjoy each day and each challenge that comes with it as well. So yeah.
Nice. So I guess I'll go to a quick check-in as well. How am I feeling? I'm feeling on my toes a little bit, just keeping up with work, and then the extra activities I do, like just podcast stuff,
Cool.
coaching stuff. So I think there's a lot on my plate, and yeah, it's good because when I do this kind of stuff, it's meaningful to me, so it's motivating.
Yeah. It must feel like you're I was literally whilst we were doing the closing eye stuff. I was just thinking to myself, I was what would young Jathis want to hear from me right now as well? So for you to do this on a regular basis, it's what would young Juggernaut want to hear, and what would he want for himself, right? Is it must feel really fulfilling to have people on here and just talk about such an important topic that isn't that talked about in South Asian community as well.
100%, yeah, 100%. So just for people that don't know, I guess we'd start with a small kind of 1 minute silence, breathing in, just before I click play.
That actually helped. That actually helped. I was is this gonna help? I was yeah, it does help.
And I guess the idea of it is you're trying to get that breath in, right? Because normally when you're on the go, you've got XYZ. Sometimes I do these podcasts, you feel nervous, or you're you got 10 different things going on in your head. So the breathing for me definitely helps. But yeah, 100%. I guess in general, I am feeling okay, feeling more aligned to where I want to go and kind of pursuing that. But I think right now probably a bit more tired, maybe slightly fed up, and I could do with a holiday, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you got to power through it. If you don't want me asking, how do you find it balancing everything? How do you find just balancing everything, kind of the podcast, work, extracurricular activities, and you might have a passion on the side of all that as well. So how do you kind of manage all that?
If I'm being honest, right now I probably feel a lot more tired and sleepy, kind of not giving up, but just I can't be bothered. So I felt that this last 2 weeks, I would say more so. So I've just kind of taken a step back and I don't do as much, but equally, I guess for me, these podcasts, they do give me a lot of meaning, and I guess I always walk away from the podcast feeling a lot better. So the way I balance it, I guess I do my normal 9 to 5 job, and then afterwards I come home, and then I try and fit in 1 or 2 hours, or even more if I can, of either podcast stuff or coaching, or kind of going to the gym, I guess, to just to unwind. So I guess I try and fit everything in, and then I guess the thing that helps me, it's a good question you asked. The thing that helps me is trying to understand my emotions and balancing that, if that makes sense.
Of course, yeah, yeah. I
As
think that's a
opposed to
big
kind
part
of,
of the acceptance part that I was talking about as well. Is like, if you feel like shit, you feel like shit, and you just have to accept it at that point. And sometimes, like, I do it a lot less now, but there was a period in my life where I had to do it quite a lot. Is like, if I had to just take the day off, I just take the day off. Like, if it feels like I'm forcing it, and if it feels like it's extra strain to kind of push through those shit days, and I just need to just have like a day to kind of just be like, okay, you're having a bad day, just accept it. It's just one down day. Tomorrow we're gonna get up and we're just gonna power through it. And I think a lot of people need to start doing that as well. And there was this one topic that I really, really wanted to touch upon today as well. It's like,
yeah.
there is a sense of like toxic masculinity, like surrounding like social media now as well. I saw this post. I'm going to openly say it as well. I saw this post, like Hamza. I'm pretty sure you're quite like, do you know Hamza? He has like this kind of like cult following, like.
Oh yes, Hamza. Yes, the YouTuber. Yeah.
I mean, he does do great things as well, but I feel like it just doesn't adhere to everyone. He was saying something. I saw a video of him saying, you know, I was grafting 7 days a week with no rest. Like, okay, that works for some people, but it's like, it's detrimental to other people as well. And I think that is the wrong message to kind of give off as well. And that's why I wanted to ask you about like balance as well, because like, and you answered that so truthfully as well, because at the end of the day, it is all about balance. You shouldn't overwork your body, because like one day it will just catch up to you as well. So like, yeah,
100%. That's a good. Yeah, I guess that's a good point, because I follow his stuff, as I've seen his stuff, and I guess he's got a massive following now. He's grown a lot, and I guess he's transformed his body a lot. Yeah. But I always find like these videos interesting, because like, you know, they're talking about hard graft, but then like it's also like, okay, what does that mean? Because hard graft means different things to different people. So like, for example, my dad, I would say, works hard physically. He's got a physical job, so he works hard. But then equally, I probably don't have as much of a physical job, but I'm probably doing, you know, maybe equal amount of hours. So in my head, I'm probably working hard, but then he probably thinks he's working harder. Does that make sense?
Exactly, 100%. And like, yeah, you just like, if something's getting too much, you just take the rest that you need, and like just start fresh tomorrow. It's like, it's just one day at a time. One day at a time is how you can really like tackle anything in life, really. So
yeah, and I guess one thing I'm working on at the moment is the idea of like, I guess my partner says it a lot, is the idea of like working efficiently, working smart, right? Because sometimes you may feel like you're doing countless things, countless different things, and you're like, you know, being productive. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, you're tired, you're fatigued, and you may not be progressing far forward as you think you are.
Literally, yeah, 100%. I was literally like, even today, I had like a late start because I just had like a I had like a 14-hour day yesterday. So I had a late start today, but I don't kick myself that I didn't wake up at the normal times that I do and stuff. It's just like, I set a time for when I start my work, and then I set like an end time for when I'm going to stop. But I just try and make sure, even if it's 2 hours, I just try and make sure it's like efficient work. It's not like lethargicness. I'm not like, it doesn't feel forced, right? Like, it's just making sure there's like 4 hours that I'm working is just like an efficient 4 hours as well.
Exactly that, yeah. So I guess one of the main questions I wanted to ask you was what made you get into acting? And I guess the journey from where you were to where you are now.
Yeah, so acting's it's a funny one. So when I was 9 years old, I had a heart operation. I had an open heart surgery. So when I went back into school, which was like year 6, I'd missed nearly about like quarter of the year already. So they were like, yeah, like you've missed so much, so we want to kind of get you involved in a bit more extracurricular activity. And like, I'm so grateful for that, because they didn't have to do that as well. And they were like, yeah, we want you to kind of be like the main cast for the end of year school play. Like, we just needed someone like enthusiastic and like passionate about it. I was like, okay, cool. Then kind of kickstarted off of that. And then when I went into like year 7, I just realized like my grades were so crap in everything but like film studies. Film studies, acting, and IT. So those 3 subjects are the ones that I even continued on to A-level as well. And like, even throughout school, like my only A-star that I even got in school was acting, like drama. So it's like, yeah, I have my teachers to thank for that, because like they would literally like support me throughout the whole way through as well. So yeah, big up to them. And then when I picked it for A levels, my parents were just a bit like, oh, like South, like you know how like some parents are like they want you to pick maths, physics, like physics, all that stuff.
Chemistry, biology.
And to be honest, like I said, I wasn't academically the best, but I just literally just put my head down, and I actually got like really good grades for like GCSE. Probably not as good as like a normal Tamil kid would say is good grades, but like it was good enough for me for someone like. And I find out recently that I had dyslexia as well, so like everything started to add up as to why I found like education so hard. So yeah, like I did like really well academically, but even though I did academically really well at GCSE, I just knew that I had to like keep up with my passion. So yeah, still picked acting, film studies, and computer science for A levels. And then when it came to like picking A levels, it's like you're kind of you like at 18 years old, you're kind of made to make like a massive decision of what you want to do for the rest of your life. And I had like a really good gut feeling in me. Is like, I don't really need to go drama school to be able to pursue acting. Like, there was so many actors at the time who had pursued acting, and it was like amazing acting, and they didn't go to drama school or any like sort of like acting stuff. So, yeah, so I went down the academic route of picking computer science, which I can openly say I do regret it because it was such a like mentally draining subject, which obviously we'll talk about later as well. Like that's kind of when things kind of like started to hit off with like stress related stuff as well, and like mental health. But nevertheless, I think my parents are quite like, you know, our parents come from like a civil war. They run away from like so much to like to have a better life for us. My version of a better life is so different to theirs. So for me, it was like I had to fulfill their dreams, and I had to fulfill my dreams as well. So whilst I was in uni as well, I would literally just like message and try and network with people. I went to like a part-time drama school as well. So yeah, just like we spoke about earlier, it's just trying to keep the balance between everything. And yeah, so I got a feature film role whilst I was in university, and I filmed that over the summer between first year and second year. And then after I finished uni, I had a role for a short film which actually talks about mental health. I'll send that over to you actually, because like you'd actually enjoy it quite a lot.
I think I've seen the trailer to it. I think I've seen it on your page.
Oh, sick, nice. Yeah, so and then fast forward from 2021 when I did that short film to now, I've got an agent, so I'm kind of like able to audition for like much bigger scale projects now. So yeah,
nice.
So it's been that's kind of like the abstract part of that's like the most abstract I can tell you my journey basically.
Wow, yeah, it sounds like a lot, like everything you've described, like from work to studying to career. It sounds like there's I guess a sense of pressure around you always, and it sounds like you've been able to balance it around, where I guess in most circumstances most people would just kind of go down the career route, but you've kind of stayed true to your kind of your passions, which is acting, I guess, in this sense. And equally, you know, you've had other issues as well, like with the heart surgery and everything. So like, although you know you've been able to overcome it, it's almost like, you know, these things do have a heavy burden on you, I'm assuming as well. So like,
I think having the heart operation at such a young age, it kind of made me like resilient towards what I should like. It kind of made me decide at a young age, what do I really want to do with my life? And like I even now think about it, like as a 10-year-old, I can't believe that's like a, because it was like a near death situation as well, because the first operation didn't go successful and the second one did. So like as a 9-year-old, when you're hearing that you're nearly gonna die, like I think from the point you kind of survive onwards, it's kind of like, damn, like I have to decide what I want to do for the rest of my life, and I need to be happy as well. And obviously that like you said, I had when it came to 18, I had like it was that type of pressure. Now I have to focus on my parents' dreams and my dreams as well. So I think the reason why I still pursue acting now and not like an academic career, like a 9-to-5 right now, is because I know how miserable I was during like the 3 years in uni. I knew how like miserable I was. So I was like, okay, so I know if I do now go to a 9-to-5, I'm just going to be miserable again as well. So I was like, again, it just relays back to like, if I died tomorrow, like what would I have to say that I'd done for myself? So that's kind of how I like live my day-to-day life. I'm like, yeah, I have to kind of do what I love to do, and like the money and stuff, all the fame, the big break, the money, like the compliments, they'll all come later on. But it's just I'm trying to
Nice.
use like my early 20s to kind of just take all the risks that I can and just put my head down. Yeah,
Which is completely fair, right? Because I
yeah,
guess when you don't have other, I guess, financial
Res-
ties like house and
responsibilities
stuff.
and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. I guess we'll go back to when you were like 9, 10, when you're going through that period of, I guess, finding out that, you may be potentially dying. Um, what was that your thought process back then? Obviously, it's hard to remember when you were younger, but
of course.
was there
Yeah,
like thoughts that you were having? What was
yeah.
your mentality?
It was just kind of like, because we were like, and I say I was really religious back then as well. It was kind of like why me? Like what did I do to God to like have this type of feeling?
Mm, of
But like I obviously don't have that feeling now. I've grown a
course,
lot
yeah.
more. But at that point, so the first surgery was a keyhole surgery, and they actually measured the device that was meant to keep the hole together wrong. So half of the device fell into my heart, and the other half was sticking out. So
Mm,
if that had fallen and it come in contact with my valve, like it would have been like a that so
oh, fine,
so
okay.
it was literally like a 6 hour
Very
gap.
life or death. Yeah.
It was literally like a 6 hour gap with where they were saying like this is like a life or death situation. So for me in that moment, I was just a bit like crap, and like I further understand how messed up that situation is now that I have like my cousin's little kids who are like 9, 10 years old,
Mm,
and like I'm like playing around with them. They're fully healthy, like touch wood, like they're fully healthy and
mm,
stuff. Like they're amazing, and like I kind of look at their age and I was like, damn, at their age I was literally like thinking about life or death type thing.
mm.
So yeah, like very like character development, character building.
Oh yeah, 100%. How did you? I guess your parents are naturally worried and concerned. Did you? Did you find you had to manage their emotions, or did you find their emotions, I guess, impacted you in a way that made you more kind of stressed?
No, I think like naturally I saw my mum cry.
Hmm.
But I found out like 4 years ago that my dad cried, but he didn't cry in front of me.
Hmm.
But he didn't cry in front of me. I think that was just to kind of not put the stress on me. So I think yeah. But it also comes down to like I've only ever seen my dad cry once in my life, right? Like, and that's when his like mother passed away and stuff. So like yeah. So it was like a kind of like I found out that my dad cried for my heart operation before I saw my dad actually cry. So when my mum told me that situation where my dad cried about my heart, like I was like so shocked because like yeah, I hadn't seen him cry, of course.
Of
And
course, yeah.
so yeah, like I think they did fairly well to try and keep as calm as they can in front of me and stuff. And I think, to be honest, as much as I kind of said it was a tough time, I think I was also quite like a strong 9 year old as well. Like I think for about 3 weeks I had like two tubes like going up, like literally right here, like I'm literally
Mm.
touching it right on that. I can feel my scar right now on it. So I had like
Yeah.
two tubes up there for like 3 weeks and like monitoring my heart and stuff. So I think I was like a mentally resilient child at that time as well. So I think yeah, it's
Nice.
yeah.
And I guess going from that stage of your life and then moving on to kind of going back to school after that, going back to day-to-day activities, how
Hmm.
was that like?
That was actually quite annoying, and I think that's where I kind of like felt so annoyed. Like I felt okay when the actual stuff was happening. It's more of like the after effect of it. Like I could never go to like kind of school trips. After that, I could never go to like in secondary school. Like how I got tired with all like the like naughty people because all the naughty people weren't allowed to go on a full park trip. So
Yeah.
I also had to stay behind every single year as well. So that's how I actually got like that's how I became like a cheeky kid at school as well. Because that's how I got close to like all the naughty people in school. Like I would literally just like spend a whole day with them and like then the day after I'd go back to chilling with my normal friends, but then I'd have to bump into the people that I was just chilling with as well. So that was like, it had its positives and negatives as well.
Of
So
course, yeah.
yeah,
And then I guess during this time you've discovered acting, or you go into your kind of you're doing drama.
yeah.
So what is it about acting that you really enjoy? What is it about kind of the world of acting in that sense?
I think it's just being free, and I think it's like just letting go for a few hours of just like, I guess it's like how people, like I'm big into gym as well. Like the reason why I go gym is just to kind of just escape my mind for a bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think that feeling times 100 is what I feel with like acting, is like just kind of letting go of who I am myself and just kind of embodying someone else for a few hours. And like, sometimes the job can be so like, um, so giving, and so like you have like a powerful story to tell as well. Back in school we explored a school shooter, but we explored the whole um, story from the shooter side. As like, so yeah, that was like quite nice, because like sometimes that side of the story has to be told as well. Like, you know, there's always two sides of the story, and like so sometimes it's nice, like when we tell like a um politically infused story, is like you have like this responsibility to kind of play a character. So you have this responsibility to play a character, and you should do it like as much justice as you can. And you know, when I was doing the character research for that as well, I was just doing so much research, and I was like, I felt some sort of like kind of like empathy and sympathy for him, for what he had gone through prior. Obviously, what the way he dealt with it, I would never condone, and like it should never be.
Of course, yeah.
It should never come down to you hurting other people. But it's also like prior to everything that happened, it's like shit. Like you're that age, and like I think I was the same age as the person at that time. So he was 16 and I was 16 when I was playing that character as well. And I was like, it just made me feel so grateful for like my life. Like it made me feel so grateful for my life, how it was at that point compared to his life. And recently I even read a script. It was about a Tamil shopkeeper, and just like how he had to flee his country to start a new life and stuff. And like even that, like those type of stories are so important, and like you have so much, like you have so much responsibility to play that truthfully.
Yes.
You have so much responsibility to play that truthfully as well. So like I still haven't started the research side of that as well. So but when it does kickstart, it's like I'm gonna make sure I talk to the relevant people that I have to talk to make sure that story is told and it embodies everyone's experience in some sort of way.
I guess that's like, from my point of view, that's probably something I probably don't even think about, right? Because as an actor, you have to be able to embody that character truthfully.
Truthfully,
And I guess the thing about you talking about empathy, about like, you know, the shooter, it reminded me of like, you know, you have these scenarios of like the serial killers, for example. I don't condone serial killing, all of this stuff,
course, yeah,
but
yeah.
you learn about the story and how, you know, the childhood may have been messed up, you know, XYZ happened, and
course.
you know, there's almost a level of full empathy there, because you're like, oh wow, like this kid experienced this and then he ended up in this way, and you almost feel so.
I think the perfect one that I could even like the perfect example that I could talk about is Jeffrey Dahmer. If you've watched that, and it's just like what he did was crazy, and I would never condone it, but it's like you realize how much the system failed him so much as well.
Yes.
Like you realize how much this, like, and I think the actor that played it, I forgot his name, but he did the job so well in showing how the system failed Dahmer as well. And like he did an equal job. He showed how messed up he was, but he also showed that empathy side to him. Like he was just left alone, and like his life was just kind of like, you live it. It's like you live it and you survive in it type thing. And like I think that's what I love about acting. It's like sometimes you're not just like, and that's why I don't think I want to go into Tamil cinema, is because I don't know if I can tell those deep, meaningful stories. Like it's like there's just like so much mass hype surrounded by it. It's like, I don't know if I can tell deep, meaningful stories like I want to, like, yeah, like I want to tell. So yeah, there is a few directors that I would definitely work with, but like on the whole, I would definitely love to go down like the Western end where like they tell a bit more meaningful stories and, you know, um,
So, in terms of like, I think you mentioned that like, the meaningful stories. What do you mean by that? Like, I guess what. So I've done a bit of like Meisner acting. So I did like a
oh,
course on
nice,
that.
nice, 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 sick, sick.
Um, and I only did it because I was like, well, at the time I was doing a public speaking course, like just to
Yeah,
build confidence. And one of the guys was like, "Oh yeah, you should do this," because he was an actor, I think, as well.
yeah.
So he recommended this course, and I did it. And at the time, I had a lot of anxiety.
Hmm.
I remember I did it, and like by the end of the 6 weeks, like there's a lot of emotion that kind of came out naturally.
Of
And
course.
obviously, there's times when you're anxious, but there's times when the emotion just comes out, and you're like, "Oh wow, that feels quite liberating." And like, even though you're acting, it's almost like it's coming from a place of like you can really feel it. And I guess,
You can really, and that's literally it. Like, he's just like, I feel like there's a misconception where acting is just reading lines of a script and that is it. And it's about how
Mm,
well you can read the script. I think it's not about how well, it's just about how truthfully you can convey the words on the line and like bring it to life basically. And
mm,
I mean, get
yeah.
me if I'm wrong, this is such a like subjective, like I don't feel like I can do that with Tamil cinema. Whereas since I was young, I've been into theatre and stuff. I feel like I've been able to tell so many beautiful stories in, yeah, I've been able to tell so many beautiful stories in like the West End side of things compared to like Tamil cinema. So yeah, I mean, I think the one big blockage that we kind of have right now is how much South Asian stories is there to tell in the Western world and like how we can build on that. And I think there's like, you know, there's amazing filmmakers out here now as well who are South Asian, who are like slowly breaking out. So just fingers crossed they come with the correct scripts and the scripts that need to be told, basically.
So with, I'm just trying to figure it out in my head, but like with, I guess Tamil cinema. So like, is it the fact that the storyline can be fake, or is it the fact that you don't, um, I guess you don't resonate with the storyline itself?
I think resonating is a hard word to use because obviously I wasn't brought up in India.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think it's just a lot of recycling that is used in
mm,
Tamil cinema. Like
yeah.
I can probably name about 15 films that have like the same structure and stuff. And
Mm,
I think that's where Vetrimaran is like, he's like when 10 people are going this way, Vetrimaran's the one that's taking the left route and he's coming out with like so many unique stories and unique ideas. Kartik Subraj as well, like he has a way of bringing mainstream but with like one powerful message and he like encapsulates audiences. So
mm.
there is a fair few directors that I would love to work with in Tamil cinema, but right now I feel like for my career I think establishing a good position in like the Western world is my goal, and then if the universe allows it, then I'll definitely go down that route of Tamil cinema and telling meaningful stories.
Nice. And I guess in terms of the meaningful stories, when you are kind of acting and you're embodying it, what's your thought process like? How do you like? Are you reading lines and then trying to feel it from that person's character? Are you starting with a starting feeling? So, for example, if the person is angry, are you getting into your own memories of when you're angry and then reading the script from that angle? Like, how does it work in that sense?
So for me, it used to be so different, and like I think one of the questions that you actually even started off with is like, I think what was acting when I first started and what is acting now for me, and I think what acting used to be for me is kind of like reading lines off a script and like kind of just like yeah, I just kind of just reading lines off a script and like kind of trying to find the character. That's what it was for me before. But now
Mm,
since I've done like a lot of like studying, going to like a lot more workshops, and like I read an amazing book that I think everyone should read is the Meisner one, and my top one at the moment is Stella Adler, Art of Acting.
mm,
And she just talks about like we're not going to learn how to act, we're going to learn how not to act and how to be truthful. And so
mm,
nowadays when I read a script, it's like I'm trying to kind of like find the mold of the character. Like, so workshops are a bit harder because workshops you get given like free script, like 3 pages, and you just kind of have to like figure out the character through those three pages, which is like, I say it's pretty hard if you haven't read the whole script. But when I've been given like a whole script, like I have recently, I think it's just, I try to find the mold of the character. Does he do any like, does he have like any bad habits? Like, you know, does he like, I don't know, like, does he like sneeze obnoxiously? Does he, like, I don't know, when he like, does he clear his throat in like a very like obnoxious manner? Like things like that. Like it's like the small stuff that I try to distinguish. And when I kind of figure out the mold of the character is then when I can realize how the lines should be delivered as well.
Fine.
So it's like
that-
like I try to go so deep into how the character moves, how the character walks, how the character speaks. Figuring that stuff out kind of helps me on how the lines should be kind of delivered as well.
So is that like? So I'm trying to just think. Is it like the essence of the character? So like, is it like, okay, is this person someone who's confident in who they are? Are they a positive person, or is it like actual kind of physical actions? So like, this person owns a horse. How does a horse owner feel and look? Is it like that?
It's a bit of both. So it's just kind of understanding the text. So like, you know, what class is he from? Is he like a middle class? Is he like a high class person? Or is he like a working class person? Like stuff like that I delve into as well. What else? And I think, yeah, just understanding the script on the whole, like how has he affected other characters? Is he a selfish person? Is he a selfless person? Does he just do his own thing without giving a fuck about what other people think about, or does he actually, you know? So it's just small things like that. I think that's what helps me help deliver the lines the way that they should be. And I think it's like unlimited. It's really unlimited. Like I think when you read that Stella Adler book, you kind of understand like the character work is so unlimited. It can go on for days and days and days. If I told you, you know, Juggernaut, tell me about yourself from like when you're born to all the way up to now. Like there's just so much intricate details and like in like a parallel universe, someone's just been given a script to play the Juggernaut that's like this version of you right now, right? So it's like there is so much that person could do to kind of like delve into that, and it's like yeah, there's so much to it basically.
So I guess delving into it, do you also include your own emotions in your own experiences, or is it more so from completely the other person's view? Or is this where you're talking about the dynamics where you're doing both?
I've been wanting to tell this story for so long because it's amazing. It literally it's like a canon moment for my. It was like a canon event where it just changed the trajectory of acting for me. So I went to guys go to loads of workshops. It's amazing. They run it in Liverpool Street. It's quite central to everyone. Niall, he's an amazing acting coach, and we were doing a piece about domestic violence, and it was about the father who had abused the kids and stuff, not in a sexual manner, just in like a physical manner. And one of the people there, they'd been through it and stuff, and she just found it so hard to do the script, and he just told her, he was like, listen, like, you're an actor at this moment. Don't try to bring your real life experiences into this room, because when you're like, okay, if you want to do it for a workshop, that's fine. It's just for 3 hours. But when you've been booked up for, you know, the National Theatre for 60 days on end, you can't relive those experiences again and again and again. Like you can't relive your personal experiences or your personal traumas again and again. You have to leave what's happened to you at the doorstep, and you just have to embody the character that you've been given, and that is it. That's no more. And I think that was so powerful for me, because when I had done Butcher, the short film, rather than doing the character work, I translated my emotions into that character, which obviously again it helped, but it's not a healthy way of one dealing with your emotions, and it's not a healthy way of acting as well, because you can't relive. For you to be able to heal, you have to let go of it not that it never happened, but you just have to move on from it. So when you've now been given like a really like amazing job of acting, we can't then go back digging into your traumas, reliving experiences. I think that's
Yeah.
it's just so unfair for you. And I never thought of that until Niall told me, Niall told me in that workshop, he said, it's so unfair for you. You can't do that. You just need to leave your traumas outside and you have to embody the character only. And that is it. Like, we don't bring our personal emotions into this. And yeah, that was like a canon event moment for me, man. And I think since that day, I stopped leaving my personal traumas at the door, and I've done enough character work. Like I said, I've delved into the character, how he walks, what trauma that character specifically went through, to kind of bring the emotions in, rather than bringing my own trauma into the stage or onto screen. Yeah.
So, like, in a way, you don't have to, but I guess it helps to have a good understanding of your emotions, and I guess in the sense of like emotional intelligence, because otherwise it can be very easy for you to play a character, and then if that character has been through similar circumstances that you have, it's very easy to go like confuse your emotions with their emotions.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
Compartmentalize your emotions and their emotions in that sense.
100%. I think I did this on my journey as an actor series. I think which you actually saw, and that's how you reached out and stuff, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
okay, on Instagram.
Yeah, thank you. So it can be really positive and really negative as well. And I think for me, it was a balance of both. Like, I think reading that script, it really helped my mental health. But I just looking back, I knew I shouldn't have involved my personal trauma into the character. I think in that script, he's like, Kratos says like you need to be able to talk to other people about it. And like that also really depends on who you talk to about it as well. Like it needs to be really understanding people. But if you talk to the correct people about it, things do get better. And I think reading that script and stuff, like you know, like God bless me with an amazing friend called Kush, and like he, like for days on end, like even if it's 2 a.m. in the morning and he had to text me, and like he does a 9 to 5, right? He's not self-employed like me. Even if it's 2 a.m. in the morning, he would still stay up like listening to me, and like you just have to have the correct people to like listen to you and like kind of talk you through everything that you're going through and stuff. So yeah.
Nice. What was that journey like, I guess, with your own mental health? Like, how did you find battling those thoughts, those emotions? How did you kind of get over it? Obviously a friend helped you, but like when your friend wasn't there, what were you doing?
To be honest, like the boxing and gym helped me so much. And I think the issue for me was I'd gone so deep into that kind of like rabbit hole of my mental health. I kind of lost my love for acting and filmmaking as well. And I think that I don't really blame myself for that, because it was also COVID as well. It's like there was like, you know, there wasn't a space to collaboratively work with people. You were kind of just locked up in your house, in your room. So like trying to find like, how am I going to get back into acting when like the film industry is not even up and running, and like how am I going to even like, you know, do like test shoots with my camera and stuff when there's like not even like people to like actually even come in contact close with. I think from like 2019 March, the first proper shoot that I had was probably like 2022, no 2021, which was 2 years onwards. 2021 like May. That's like 2 years of not doing any acting or any filmmaking. So, and I think finding my love for filmmaking and acting again was what kind of got me out of that as well. And I've realized like without a coping mechanism, I feel like people look down upon coping mechanisms so much. Of course, you should look down on it if it's stuff like alcohol, drugs, and stuff that like affect you really badly. But if it's positive things and like you're growing in terms of skill set, money, or you're like positively influencing other people's lives, you should have a coping mechanism like for your mental health. Like you should have something that you look forward to other than, you know, like something that you're made to do and stuff. So yeah, I think finding love for acting and filmmaking again has like, yeah, definitely been like such a big help for me in my mental health.
Nice. One question that I always ask is for you, what does it mean to be a South Asian man?
Um, it's a privilege, man. Like, I'm so like grateful. I was literally thinking this few weeks ago, like, if I could be born Tamil again in my next lifetime, I would be so blessed, man. It comes with so much challenges. Like, I'm an actor, and like no one chooses that path, right? And like for me, I always feel like if a thought comes into your head, it's there for a reason. It's like how Thomas Edison created the light bulb. People probably thought he was stupid. Like the only way that we can receive light is from fire. Like at that point where people thought, but he went against all odds and he proved people right that he could create a light bulb. And like look at us now, like even in our laptops right now, there is a bulb that's like being able to like it's used in everyday life. So yes, it's like same with my acting as well. It's like the reason I thought of me wanting to become an actor and I'm being South Asian, I think it's just like I know there's a bigger meaning to it as well. And like if I win, it's just not me winning. I may be winning through like, money, or I may be getting like the big brand deals and stuff like that. But no, I think it's just so much bigger than that. I think it's being able to tell like young kids like there is a place out there for us in the world. And like, yeah, if you're South Asian, like you should be so grateful that you're South Asian, man. They're like, we've been given like such a, like, we got kicked out of our own country and now we're able to kind of like go abroad and like kind of show people who we are. And I think for me, that's what acting and filmmaking is. Like, I want to be able to tell people like we're Tamil, like this is our history. Like this is who we are, and yeah, this is our history. And I think that's like the goal that I'm trying to work towards. Like God bless the people in the NHS, man. Like they've even got a whole they've worked so hard that they've got a whole separate section on the NHS that says, "Are you British Tamil?" And I think that is what I want for us Tamils in the film industry as well. I want for us to be like, like Tamil stories to be told on like, on like a big platform in the Western platform. Tell our history of like genocide, where we come from, the struggles that we come from. So yeah, man, like to be South Asian is a big privilege, man. And like, although it is challenging, like although we do have a lot of like building blocks right in front of us, like I think it's our job to kind of push through those, like people say there's no industry for us, so let's create one ourselves, right? Like let's create the industry ourselves. Let's make sure our voices are heard, and like we stand on our 2 feet and we show them like who Tamil people are is how I feel about being South Asian, man. So yeah, it's a big privilege.
Nice. You sound like you sound very resilient. Like you've gone through a lot of things. Like you have obviously battled your own mental health stuff, but you've got people around you. You're appreciative of those people as well.
I think one thing that I could never ever in my life say, and like I hope if I ever say it, they should come back to this podcast and be like, "What about now?" I could never say that I've made it this far in life without the people in my life. Like I haven't been a one-man team. Like of course on Instagram you might see Jathis Siva film or actor Jathis Siva. You might see my face on it all the time, but it's not because of me. Like it's just the people around me that supported me, and Divi, Karti, they make sure I wake up for gym every single morning. Like they're there. Kush, my friend, he's always there to kind of like just talk about my mental health whenever I need to. Rahul, he's always there to kind of just keep it straight with me. He never beats around the bush. If he feels like I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, he's always there. So like, and my brother as well. He's always just like my brother Janif, like my actual blood brother. He's always there. He's always there to like he's just always there helping. He'll never say no to me. So when you see Jathis Siva on social media platform, that's just a facade. There's so much more behind it, and like yeah, it's amazing that you said that because it is true. There's been like amazing amount of people behind it that have helped, man. So yeah.
One thing that popped up in my head as you were speaking is if you're going to go around and say you're an actor, I know most people will think you're absolutely absurd. Like even this day and age, right? People will be like, how is that possible? Like I guess we're so conditioned to X, Y, Z jobs, like doctor, standard job.
Yeah.
you don't see outside that box. We're kind of confined to that box. And even, I guess, people who are my age or younger, even, a lot of people can't see outside that box, right? So
Of course.
I guess when you're pursuing your career as an actor, what helps you stay motivated, and does what other people say deter you from your path as much?
So do you know the first part of that question? Could you repeat it?
Yeah. Yeah, so what helps you stay motivated to
Hmm.
pursue your career as an actor?
I think what films did for me as a child is what keeps me motivated.
Mm.
So obviously I had the heart operation and stuff. Like a year and a half later, there was something that happened in my family, which like my parents had to, my parents just had to work a lot, like
Mm.
regardless of like my health and stuff. I was all good. Like even now I'm like doctors say I'm like a perfect functioning human being. There's nothing wrong with me now. And even like a year and a half then, like I was perfectly functioning. It was all good. So it was okay kind of for my parents to go work and stuff, but like they were at work. They were at work so much. So me and my brother, like the one thing that we would do is watch films. And
Mm.
so for us, like my parents couldn't afford babysitters. Do you know what I mean? Like that they couldn't. So the babysitting that was done was the films were our babysitters basically. Like we just
Yeah.
get lost in films from like 9 a.m. to about until we go sleep, and like during school holidays and stuff. Like getting lost in films is all we did. So I think what films did for me, and I just like knowing that I could be on that screen, being able to kind of have that same impact on someone else, whether it's people watching films that I've directed, or whether it's people just seeing my screen presence on screen and just getting lost in it and just like having some sort of escape. And what that can do to someone, like how that inspired me, is what I want to basically give back. I just want to be able to give back in that same way as well. And like action films did that for me personally.
Mm.
Spy thrillers, they did that for me personally. So yeah, like hence why I'm so like kind of motivated to kind of go down that genres of films and stuff.
Nice.
Um,
Second part to that question
mhm.
was, so it's gone out of my head. The second part was, when you're going down that path, how do you stop other people from deterring you from that path, if that makes sense? So, for example, you have an auntie comes up to you like, "What are you doing?" You say actor, and they might be like, "Really?" How do you overcome that kind of doubt in them, if that makes sense?
I'll be like,
Like,
Andy,
are you even bothered?
I'll be like, Andy, for me, please. No, no, no. I think there's two ways that I think about this. One, the first way, not a lot of people will kind of agree with, which is fine if you don't, but we get told as Tamil kids, like maybe South Asian. I can't speak for other cultures, but I know I can speak for like
Mhm.
உங்களோட அம்மா அப்பா கஷ்டப்பட்டு இந்த நாட்டுக்கு வந்திருக்கீங்க நீங்க நல்லா இருக்கணும். So translated is your mom and dad have come to this country and grafted their arse off so that you could live a good life. And so that good life part is so narrow and one way for people. The way that
Mm.
I think about that good part is acting and filmmaking. Like my parents have been able to work so hard in their life to be able to give me some sort of like, I'll openly say it, privilege, living at home with them, being able to take some extra risks to be able to pursue a career in acting. And I feel like not a lot of people see that. A
Mm.
lot of people kind of end up mistaking that, like, like you are good now in life, as to you have to instantly give back to your parents by going to a 9 to 5, and like you have to pursue the career that your parents want to. And I feel like it's just the wrong. Personally, I just feel like it's the wrong way of looking at it. Obviously, from a financial perspective, a lot of people might have responsibilities at home, and I'm not talking about those people. I
Mhm.
completely respect that, and I accept that I have a privilege that I don't have to do those type of things. But for those that don't, and they do have a bit of freedom of choice, take the risk, stop caring about what other people say. Which leads on to my second part: is if you have a goal, try and be really loyal to it. Like I don't know how to say it, like I don't know how many of you guys are actually like loyal in relationships, but kind of think of it like that.
Hopefully
Like,
everyone.
yeah, hopefully everyone, you know, like as you would be loyal to your mum, to your girlfriend, to your dad, to your brother, be loyal to your goals. Just because one person comes and says like it doesn't work out, it's kind of like the Thomas Edison analogy that I gave. People probably thought he was like stupid to think that he could create light out of something that's not, you know, fire. But he did it in the end because he stayed so motivated. So yeah, the two parts to that kind of answer is like if you have a position where you don't have a lot of financial responsibility and you are in a position where you can take a lot of risks, your parents, you know, like God bless them, they have worked so hard for you in their lives, and you have like a little bit of leeway, you know, you've got like a 2-year time gap to be able to take all the risks you can. Just use that. Like when Tamil people say with the parents, the part is the part like is that point where you should take risk, man. Like don't waste it on trying to impress other people is what I would say. Just take the risk. And yeah, second of all is stop listening to other people, because you know they didn't go through what you've been through. Like they haven't lived your life. And I can't even really blame Tamil parents or like a Tamil auntie when I say, because like they've come from like army men breaking down the doors of their houses, like dragging them by their hair, basically shooting like their siblings in front of them. So what is good for them is so different to what we think is good. So I'm sure they don't mean anything bad by it. It's just, we just need to be resilient enough to listen. And you just have to be mature enough to understand that they come from a whole different background to where we've been brought up in privilege, right? And they've come from such a like hard background. So you just need to be like mature enough to understand where they come from and where that's coming from as well. They don't mean it in bad. They don't mean it in bad blood, and I think that's something that I've accepted as well. Is like, I think when people tell me either saying or vele saying, or I don't think they mean it in bad way. It's just they don't understand my goal at the end of the day. So yeah, stay loyal to your dreams. And when people make comments, even if it's not aunties, it might be insecurity as well. It might be coming from something way deeper than just them telling you that. Like they might have some sort of trauma that they're just taking out on you, and you have to be emotionally intelligent to kind of, you know, process and understand that basically.
Nice. So I guess there's different elements to this, isn't there? There's like one aspect to where if you just said what they want you to do, you're taking away a sense of guilt as well, because you're like, I'm not living my life to the fullest. I'm going to do what you say because it's an obligation. But your parents will still love you regardless, right?
Exactly.
And there's another element where you're going down your path. It's unconventional to many people, but equally, you know, you are very appreciative to your family, to your friends around you. It's not like you're doing this and you're being, you know, fuck everyone else. You are, you know, being appreciative to everyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's that level of empathy there as well, right? But equally, you have to do what's right for you, because your heart, you know, everything about you is telling you to take this risk.
Exactly.
And if you don't do it now, down the line, you're going to regret it. And then you might children and make them regret their life. You know, you might just put burden on them otherwise.
Exactly. There was this really nice saying. It's like, if you think the bill from giving up is high, wait till you get the bill from regret.
Yes,
and it's it goes something like that. And I like, that is so, it just felt so powerful for me, because it's like, tomorrow I want my kids to be able to kind of like, you know, watch a biopic or read a book about the risks that I took to be able to get to the position that I was in. And like, you just have to keep powering through. If you have an ideal, if you have a vision, just keep powering through. I even said this in Praveen's podcast. Like, you should have 4 or 5 friends who constructively criticize you. It's so easy for people. It's so easy for people to nowadays be like, yeah, amazing idea, sick idea, and you're just creating shit stuff. And I'm not telling you to like, I'm not telling people to have those type of people around you. I'm telling you to have 4 or 5 people and have one vision have one vision, try and stay loyal to it, but also have that 5 people that will also constructively criticize you to make that vision better. And I generally feel like I have that circle around me. Like, I've filmed so much acting content on my, I filmed so much acting content for my page, which hasn't got released because my friends are like, this isn't Jathis Siva level of acting. Like, you can't release this. Like, this doesn't go well with your brand image. And so, yeah, so I think it's just having the correct circle and people around you is just like, is night and day difference.
That's nice. It's nice to hear. Like, you have supportive friends who hold you accountable, who
Exactly, yeah.
hold you to high standards and want you to succeed, which
Exactly.
is rare.
Yeah, very rare, and I'm like always grateful for that. Yeah.
Just looking at the time, so
That's fine.
we'll do a checkout round.
Yeah.
Essentially anything that's on your mind, anything you want to share. I'll go first. So I guess from this whole conversation, there's a lot that you kind of shared with us, and I feel like this can go even deeper. Like, I feel like we can stay here for another hour, but maybe for another podcast.
We'll definitely talk to you or something, man.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your journey, and yeah, it's actually been very quite motivational and good to hear. I think the key things, I guess, for me are like your resilience and determination, and your, I guess, your tenacity to push through and stick to your passion regardless of external circumstances. And I guess that's been heavily influenced by, you know, your that incident that happened at 9-10 years old.
Yeah.
And I guess in a way, like, you know, your heart was nearly broken, but like, you know, you're now sticking to your heart and you're trusting your heart and you're pursuing this career forward.
Yeah, of course.
Got great friends around you as well, so yeah, you can't really complain in that sense, right?
Yeah, literally.
And I guess, yeah, there's another element of acceptance as well, right, which you touched upon, which was like the idea of like, you know, you're doing everything you can, but there's always things that aren't going to go your way, and you have to learn to kind of sit back and trust the process, accept it.
Of course.
And I guess through that journey of acceptance, it's like a door, right? Because the more you accept it, the more likely then things are going to go your way, as opposed to kind of trying to fight it, trying to hammer it down, and trying to kind of force your way to where you would need to get to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course, literally, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, just, I think, yeah, stay loyal to your goals is like is what I would say. That's my checkout. Like, yeah, stay loyal to your goals. It's like the analogy that I said earlier, right? if you're loyal to your girlfriend, do the same with your goals, man. Like, I think, yeah, it's a privilege to be South Asian, man. So own it. Stop through. Like, I think there's a misconception of how hard it is, how less opportunities that we have, and I think I would just say, be grateful for the opportunities that we do have, and let's just build our own industry and work on top of it. One of the biggest, you know, rap grime legends, Skepta, like he's like the standing feet of grime. And there was no grime at one point. There was just garage, right? And garage and bashment, like that's what it was. And like they created a whole industry for themselves. And like Skepta is now literally like an icon in the UK. Like he's known worldwide. So we can do the same. Like, something I always say is, if it's been done once, it can be done again. So yeah, let's just, for all South Asian creators, let's just keep pushing. Let's just create an industry of our own. And yeah, stop looking at it as a challenge, and let's start looking at it as a privilege. Like, we're South Asian, we should own it.
Nice. And I actually have one more question that's popped up: is what advice would you give to someone who's aspiring to be an actor right now, listening in right now, who's maybe has a lot of self-doubt, doesn't believe in themselves? What advice would you give them?
The first thing is household. If your household aren't accepting of it, when you become of an age where you can start making independent choices, start looking at workshops in London for acting. There is a shit ton. Like, I didn't know about any of these workshops literally like only until 2 years before. For so long I was just trying to kind of like, how can I get back into acting? How can I keep up my, you know, my hours within acting? Is like a big question. So until I started going to like other shoots and stuff, I heard about there's so many workshops in London. You can build your acting skills based on that. You don't need to go drama school. Um, Second advice is acting is not about looks. It's not about how good looking you are. It's not about if you have a six pack. It's not about if you have big muscles. It's about how well you can embody a character. It's about how well you can tell their story. So stop looking at these A-list actors who have had plastic surgery done to them, who have most likely, been on steroids or something. It's not about their looks. It's not about how they look on the outside. It's about how good they do their jobs as like actors, how well they embody the actors. So yeah, like stop caring about looks. There's nothing to do with looks. And the third advice, final advice I would give is just keep training. It's like when you look at something that changed my the way that I look at acting this year was I started Muay Thai, and I also watched the Conor McGregor documentary recently as well. And when you look at if you haven't been to a Muay Thai gym, I think I would recommend people to go like for about 3 months, and you'll see the amount of dedication that people put in they just keep turning up every single day. Even if there's no results, they just keep turning up every single day. If you watch the Conor McGregor documentary as well, as soon as he finished work, he would just keep turning up every single day. So yeah, that's something that I would say, keep turning up every single day. Like it's like that's what I learned on Muay Thai. Is like the amount of hours you put into it is how determines how well you get at it. And that's how you should also look at acting as well. You just don't become an actor in a day. You don't get given a script and just read off it. You don't just, there is a workflow to it, and you should really understand that workflow. And yeah, that makes you become an amazing actor. And yeah, just keep training and keep turning up.
Thank you for coming on. And
thank you for having me, man. Like this conversation's been like even insightful for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, if you take anything away from this conversation, stay loyal to your girlfriend.
Yes, most important one.
Where can people find you? Like contact details?
So Jathis Siva film, no, Jathis Siva or Jathis Siva film, if you type that in, my acting page is still gonna be up, but I'm putting all my socials just under one bracket, because it just makes it so much easier, and my replies to juggle would not be like 2 to 3 weeks as well. So, yeah, Jathis Siva film. You can search me up, or Jathis Siva, one of the two. My socials will be up there. And if you want to find me on Spotlight, if you're a casting director and you've come across my stuff, I am on Spotlight as well. So you can find that in my link tree that's on my on my Instagram. So yeah, if you want to get in contact, just shout my agent.
Sweet. Thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.